Hi there. Welcome to my very first episode of Get Your House in Order. I'm your host, Elke Rubach, and I'm really happy to be here. So, what's this podcast about? Is it about money? Yes, it is. Is it about legacy? It is too. But it's also about tough conversations and the stuff we really all tend to avoid. That's 100% what this is all about. But most importantly, it's about being real. And it's about having the conversations that matter. The conversations where one is usually too busy to stop and think about it and realize why you're doing things, the meaning you wanted to give to your career, to your busyness, to your day-to-day conversations, to your life, to your everything, what your legacy will be. Sometimes these conversations are very uncomfortable, but not having them makes your life worse. Those are the little cracks that make your house crumble. I'm a former lawyer, and now I plan for legacy and wealth. I run a firm called Rubach Wealth, and it's a holistic family advisory. I've spent the last decade helping people get their act together and get financially clear, professionally get rid of all the noise that attacks people every day, and personally find peace of mind. It's not from a place of judgment. We're not here to judge, but it's from a place of clarity and intention. And this podcast, the reason for this podcast is that I want this to be the place where people can come and talk about all of it with authenticity and with curiosity and humor. And we need to learn how to laugh about our own mistakes. But then we have to fix them, and that's what we're here for. With people from every walk of life, we want to have those conversations. We want to hear from more people that you want to hear from every single day. People you admire, people you look up to, people that you might be curious about, or how they do things, why they do things. Keeping it human, keeping it simple. Nothing is off the table. This is real life. Things happen. It's not just about spreadsheet and money. It's not about just to-do list. We know we have to do things, but it's not what drives us. It's really keeping it real and trying to identify ourselves with things that other people go through but don't talk about. So this is a place where we want to come and be open about it. So if you want to know more about me and what I do, you can check out elkerubach.com or www.rubachwealth.com. But for now, let's jump in. What does get your house in order really mean? We've all heard it. And when something's on fire, everybody yells, well, you better get your house in order. But it's not about panic. It's about finding proactive clarity. It's about taking control before life forces you to have to take control of things, even if you can. Here's the deal. We're all avoiding something that could completely derail us. What is it? Maybe it's a will you haven't written. Maybe it's a conversation with your parents that you haven't had because it's really, really uncomfortable. Maybe it's thinking about death that we really don't want to do. Maybe you don't even understand things you have. Maybe that insurance policy that you put in place many years ago, but don't remember exactly what it looked like or how or why you did it. It sounded great at the time, but do you still need it? Do you have what you need? Do you need what you have? So ultimately, it's maybe a conversation that you haven't had with your kids, and you're making gross assumptions that your kids know what's in your head. Or maybe you're scared that they will judge you. But guess what? Life doesn't care if you're ready. So why not be ready? Let me tell you a little bit about my story. And this is how it all started for me. I'm a lawyer by training, and I practiced corporate law for a while. Big deals, fancy boardrooms. But over time, I started to feel this pull because I kept seeing people with so much potential who didn't just have a structure in place. I moved into banking, and my job was to be the bridge between clients and advisors, making sure that the investment advice was sound and compliant. And usually it was. But what I saw very often was that people made financial decisions without a clear plan and based on things that sounded great at the time or something that their buddy recommended. And I saw the potential in these people, but it was limited because they just did things in silos. They didn't have a structure that connected all the pieces. And worse, they didn't even know where to start. So that's kind of brought me back to the time where I bought my first property thinking that I had it all figured out. I'm a lawyer, I know finances, I know the basics, right? I can do it. But that rugged individualism is very dangerous. And that's when I decided that I would surround myself with a good team of advisors. And based on that model, I replicated that model with Rubach Wealth. And there's a team of professionals working with our clients to make sure that all the pieces of their own puzzle fit exactly where they belong. It was very interesting because at the beginning of my career, people would ask, what do you do? And my answer was, well, I do a lot. That was not really a clear answer for clients or people who were trying to become my clients. And after doing an exercise with Andres Pone, it came to light that the real reason behind what I do was based on my personal story. When we were young, my dad dies young. My mom thought that my dad had it. My dad thought that my mom had it. And at the end of the day, nobody had it, right? And it was a necessary stress that could have been avoided. Today I know, obviously hindsight 2020, that with a little bit of effort and devoting time and accountability, planning is not that hard. A good plan doesn't need to be incomprehensible. A good plan doesn't need to have 75 pages of financial models. The plan is the one that represents your family. The plan is the one that includes everything that affects your financial life and that resonates with your values and your families. And it's something that you can actually communicate with them, upwards and downwards, parents and children. I realized that people didn't need more jargon and making their lives more complicated because that sounds smarter. People need a real talk, a sounding board, someone who would say, hey, you're doing great, but there's this blind spot here that could derail everything. So I pivoted, and the firm helps people build their wealth with intention. And now I'm doing this podcast to take those conversations to a bigger audience. And I think everyone deserves to feel confident about their finances and clear about their future. Time flies by, and then there's so much noise, so many things that change back and forth in the news, and markets go up and down, and personal situations change, that people tend to paralyze and freeze. And not acting is arguably one of the biggest damages you can do to yourself. If you don't know something, that's fine. But now that you know that you don't know, what are you going to do about it? So let's say you're listening and thinking, well, I want to get my house in order. Where do I even begin? Well, here's the framework I use, but we customize it depending on the person we're talking to. We need to first make a list of everything you have. What are we working with? What do you still need? Is it time to purge? Is there a use for this, that, or the other? And we simplify. And then we set goals and we build a strategy that reflects your goals. And we protect it all. It's growing, but protecting. And we're also very interested in making sure that any strategy is tax efficient. There are times that people take incredible risks to grow their wealth, but they're not tax efficient. There's a good chance that with the right risk and with tax efficiencies, you don't have to take such crazy moves and leave everything to CRA. So that's really it. I mean, obviously, every conversation is different. Every person hears and learns differently, and that's our job. Our job is to be able to pull from our clients what they want to do, and we show them how to get there. But we do put the responsibility on the client to tell us what is it that they want to do. Otherwise, they're just following these rules of thumb that only some weird software decided for them, And then that's something that people won't follow. It just won't fly for them. So step one is clarity. Let's remove all the noise. It's shocking how many people, smart, successful, capable people, have no idea what they have or what their financial picture is or what it really looks like. They're so focused on their careers, serving their clients, looking after their families, and for some reason, it's always their own financial house that gets neglected, pushed to the back burner. So here's the thing. Later is never a good time. Let me tell you a story. I sat down with a couple a while ago, both really, really big income earners, 2 kids, lovely people. But when we dug into their finances, there were gaps everywhere. There was no will. There wasn't a coordinated strategy. Insurance, they didn't even understand. There were things that they were paying, and because they thought it was a lot of money, they assumed it was working. They hadn't been following it. And when a health scare hit, that's when they realized how close they were to a financial disaster. That's when it finally got serious. And that's when the real work began. My takeaway was clarity is not a luxury. It's your foundation. And ideally, don't wait until something goes really wrong for you to correct the path. Planning is not rocket science, but it does require discipline, accountability, and somebody who can guide you and help you find your blind spots. Once you're clear with everything you have and how things interact, well, you want to go somewhere. How are we going to get there? And it's really mapping out the steps and the milestones that you need to hit to get to where you want to be. And no, I don't mean just throw some money into a TFSA and hope for the best kind of thing. It's really a cohesive, intentional, flexible plan. Your plan has to be solid, but it also needs to allow for flexibility because we know things change. Another story. One client had a really strong growing business and huge momentum. The only thing he could think of was his business. But there was no structure, and there was no tax strategy, and there was no succession plan. So we put all the pieces together, trust, insurance, future planning, proper partnership agreements in place. And now he sleeps at night. He knows that if something goes really wrong, all the players involved know what's going to happen. Everybody knows what's expected from everyone. And the rules of the game are clear. So strategy isn't about being rigid. It's about being ready. Then we moved into protection. Protection is as you accumulate, as you advance, you want to put a layer of protection over what you've already achieved. And life throws curveballs. Nobody has anything guaranteed. And it's not me being dramatic. It's just how it goes. I've seen families torn apart over inheritance and fights between the family over assumptions of a little thing that you thought that we thought that it was supposed to be for me, but it wasn't for you. It's like silly things sometimes major things. But if you can avoid fights, why wouldn't you? I've seen people lose absolutely everything because of one accident or one diagnosis or one gap in their plan. So you protect your phone with a case, right? You insure your car in case of an accident. But your entire life, your family, your legacy, that's where you really, really need a plan. So here's what this podcast is going to be. Every week or so, I'll show up with tools, tips, frameworks, but more importantly, with conversations and real ones. I'll bring people from all over the place, from every walk of life, business leaders, artists, politicians, thinkers, community builders, philanthropy. We'll talk about what works for them, what doesn't, what's evolving, what's the landscape, what's their personal situation for those who want to share. We'll get into, philanthropy and politics, parenting, money, purpose, entrepreneurship, and everything in between. We'll talk to women who are joining the workforce again after becoming parents or being just a parent for so many years. their fears, their wishes, their progress. I'm hoping to really connect people and help bring people to a better place. So we'll ask real questions and we're hoping to get all the best answers. Sometimes it will be uncomfortable, but we always do it from a point of respect and curiosity because we know that that's how we grow. So if you're someone who wants to live with intention and you're ready to stop avoiding and start building your real legacy, this is your space. Hit subscribe, tell a friend, send me an email. I'd be thrilled to have you on the podcast and join me each week as we try to figure this out together. We don't have all the answers, but we're constantly in the search for those. Thank you so much for listening and welcome to Get Your House in Order.